If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of the Ron and Don Show, and we are back in the Ron and Don Real Estate Studios. He's Ron, I'm Don.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Yeah, this is our Super Bowl only show. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl today, and in fact, we're going to talk about some of the storylines. We'll talk about Mike McDonald. What does he mean when he says we're stacking plays and we're stacking wins and the 12 is one and we're chasing edges? What does all that mean? So Ron might know, because he worked in sports radio for 10 years. Also, we got to talk about the other halftime show.
Oh, we do, yes.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the halftime show of Bad Bunny, and it just seems like, are you going to be watching Bad Bunny, or now they say we get an opportunity to watch Kid Rock up and down the block with a bottle of scotch. Before we get to that, though, let's get to this. Typically this time of year when Ron and I worked in sports radio, or even when we worked at Cairo, we'd be sitting at a place called Radio Row. So what is Radio Row and what happens on Radio Row?
I think it depends on how you think about the NFL. And I think you and I, to answer the question, then I'll circle back around. It's a convention space with 1 million tables, and you have people that walk through basically hawking whatever they're trying to promote. And so it can be anything from a cookbook up to an ex-NFL Hall of Famer and anything in between. They're just surfing up and down the road. And so if you're CBS, you're going to get the A-list guests. And if you are Poughkeepsie, New York's sports leader at 6:40 a.m., you're going to get a guy selling nachos.
There you go.
And everything in between. And so if you're from a major market, your producer goes out and they're like, hey, I got Warren Sapp's going to come by in 15 minutes, and then Troy Aikman's going to come by this afternoon. And so you book bigger guests like that. Or sometimes it could be like, hey, there's a musical guest here. Maybe Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny is stopping by, or there's a musical guest.
I just call him The Bunny.
The Bunny.
The Bunny.
And so the thing for me, and I'm wondering how you are on this, is I think the NFL that you love, for me at least, is crystallized as a kid. So you fall in love with, or at least I fell in love with, an era of the NFL that's very specific to my brain and my life and my coming of age and understanding. Like, it coincides with playing football, and then you watch it on the weekends. And so I have this nostalgia for, you know, the late 1980s into the mid 1990s, that era of football. And it was still commercialized then, but it's become more and more and more commercialized. And so when I think about the Super Bowl and when I think about what it has evolved into, there's a little bit of sadness for me, because the purity of, you know, when we were working with the Raiders, which was, I don't know, 20 years ago
1997, 98, 99.
So more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just a different vibe. And I talked to my mom and dad, who bought season tickets to the Broncos in 1970. And fans could go to the games. Fans could, you know, my dad and mom, you know, and when the Orange Crush defense, you know, made their run in the late 70s with Carl Mecklenburg and that crew, a working class family could display their fandom for their team all the way through the last game.
Go watch John Elway and the Three Amigos.
And I went to a game.
And if you don't like John Elway, then let me give you, is it Dan Morton? Who is the Morton?
Craig Morton.
Craig Morton before
Craig Morton.
That. Yeah.
And so I went to a playoff game. As a kid, my dad could take his sons.
You could afford it.
To a game, and I watched Elway fling it 65 yards to Vance Johnson.
Awesome.
Most people can't do that anymore. And that is heartbreaking to me to think about. Not heartbreaking. It's sad to me to think about if you were a lifelong, like I think about baseball. You saw lifelong Chicago Cub fans that are working class that could attend a World Series game. It was expensive, but it wasn't out of reach. So you saw families take grandpa to the Cubs game, and it was like they had to stretch a little bit, but they could do it. And Grandpa finally got to see the Cubs in the World Series. You have lifelong Seahawk fans that are like, I can't spend $9,000 per ticket. So if it's me, my significant other, and my kid, now I'm spending $30,000 on the ticket, and we don't have a hotel or food or airfare or a rental car or anything.
Or you're not into any of you got to buy the passes for the parties and
all that stuff.
And chances are $9,000 is not a great seat.
Right. So it's like, am I going to drop $50,000 to have a family experience with the Seahawks? And that's what gets me. Media Row is fine. We've been to Super Bowls. We've covered Super Bowls. It's fun to have the story of like, oh, I'm riding in the elevator with Deion Sanders and he was kind of a jerk to me. And those are fun and entertaining. But for the regular fan, the person that has been with the Seahawks since their inception in the 70s, that sat through those crappy Kingdom teams and had a King Dog and all that stuff, that person most likely cannot support its team.
Yeah. It's interesting when we did Radio Row, and we did it a number of times, and we even did it last time the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl. We were down in Arizona. What's interesting when you're doing the morning show on Radio Row, because there's so many parties at night, a lot of those people that they schedule to get up and be on the morning show, they never show up because they're still hungover. They're still partying from the night before.
Mr. Bunny's still up.
Yeah. So they start trickling in during the midday show, and then it's the afternoon show that actually gets a lot of the great talent that comes. And what's interesting about that is you will have people come over standing there that maybe you really don't know, or maybe it's like a Jermaine Kearse, for instance, that played on the Seahawks Super Bowl team. You know him because he went to the University of Washington. He might come over and sit down.
They're either doing an energy drink or a
like Gator or something,
or a fitness apparel club.
They've been paid to be there. If you get someone to sit down with you, and I remember we were on Radio Row one time, and Garth Brooks came over, or I remember we were on Radio Row one time, and
David Bowie. We talked to David Bowie once.
They will tell you when the big stars come over, and they're like, yeah, you're in Seattle, you're in San Francisco, you guys are in Dallas, wherever we were at the time. Yeah, we like to come on. They'll tell you only have 5 minutes, and then they get yanked. What we learned is that every athlete wants to be a musician.
Yep.
And so when an athlete comes over, just get them talking about music
or acting.
Anytime you get Billy Bob Thornton and you're going to interview him, don't interview him about Landman. Do that at the end. Interview him about the boxcars because he's a musician. I think he was just in Spokane. He was here in Seattle. He loves talking about music. And what happens is when the producer comes over to take Billy Bob Thornton away, Billy Bob Thornton will give him a sign that says, no, I want to keep going. Garth Brooks, we got him talking about baseball, right?
Yeah, he tried out for the San Diego Padres minor league organization, and so was a pretty good ball player.
Yeah.
And we were talking about baseball and talking about pitches. And
he wouldn't go away.
Oh man, and he was having a ball
because he was going from radio station. Then finally, someone sat down with him and didn't want to talk country music. They wanted to talk baseball.
The thing that I loved,
and he kept looking over at the producer and go, "No, I'm going to keep going." And he stayed for over a half hour.
The thing that I love is at the end, you're like, "Hey, can we promote your album?" He's like, "It's going to sell." He's like, "I'm not going to do fine."
Yeah,
on that album.
Yeah, and I have to say, when David Bowie came over,
that was a thrill for me.
And maybe one of the nicest, kindest, most gentle souls you're ever going to meet.
He had the an aura. Like, I don't believe in like ghosts and things.
Yeah.
But David Bowie had some kind of.
Well, you wait. If I die
field.
First, I'm going to come back and visit you, and then you're going to believe in
Perfect.
ghosts. So let's talk about this a little bit. Any superstitions for Sunday? I know, Matt, you're having a party. You came and grabbed an old TV from my house. You're going to have 3 screens going. What kind of vittles are going to be at the party? Because when people invite me to a party, I usually like to know who has the better vittles.
Can I just do a timeout real quick before we even jump
for
into
a Beverly Hillbilly TV land reference for everyone? Because the Clampetts and Jed especially and Grandma love to make the vittles along with Ellie Mae and Jethro, right? You're always having the vittles.
I'm gonna jump in here or Matt, do you have an idea what the menu is before
What is the menu?
No, it's bring your own. So
It's potluck.
It's bring your own?
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. I'm not coming.
So here's the thing. And I'm going to decline Matt's party for this reason. I feel like I'm on the Shark Tank.
Well, you have to bring your own vittles.
I'm on the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And here's why. If this was a Super Bowl without the Seahawks in it,
Yeah.
I am fine to go to a party.
I'm with you.
Potluck.
Yep.
We're chit-chatting.
Let's
We're talking
go.
about the Rocket.com mortgage commercial.
No one watches the
whatever it is.
game.
No one watches
Everybody
the game.
becomes very, very silent during the commercial.
Yeah, we're like cruising around, and I check in on the game.
Yeah.
Now, that is very different than when the Seahawks are in the game.
Yeah, you got to play
And
your
so
part. Yeah.
I am doing a party. It's going to be me and my life partner.
Life partner now.
Significant other.
Did you guys talk about girlfriend, life partner?
Oh, yeah.
And significant other?
She sent that video to all her family and friends. It's a whole thing now.
So you settled on life partner.
I think life
Do
partner.
life partners, and I don't want to get too personal, but I want to get personal. Of course I do. Do life partners have rings?
No.
Necklaces? Does she get a piece of jewelry?
Watches.
You give her a watch.
We both have watches. She
That's
got me
cool.
a watch. I got her a watch.
I like that. That's
we have
great.
matching Mito automatics.
Life partner watches.
So,
Very safe.
So here's the
Hey,
thing.
isn't that a life partner watch you have on? Stop
Yes.
trying to pick me up.
So it's going to be probably
At Bennigan's on a Thursday
at
night.
three or four people max,
Three or
so
four.
that you can. I want to watch the game.
Yeah.
I would like to pay attention to
If
the
you talk
actual
at Ron's party, you're out.
the
You're
football
out,
game.
Right out.
Well, that's why I'm not having a party.
Right.
Because I realize I'm going to be an a-hole.
Yeah.
Like if someone is chit-chatting especially if it's fourth quarter, like the NFC Championship game, fourth quarter, like the game is not in hand yet and people are talking about other stuff. No, zip it.
Zip it.
Or I'm going to go to a different room or whatever. But like we have to, this is not a regular party situation.
You're going to have
for
good
me.
vittles. Sometimes, though, when you're making vittles, you got to stay in the kitchen and keep making and warming up the vittles. Like, let's say you're going to have someone over and you're going to
scaled it down.
we're going to get we're going to make pizzas, or
Already
I'm going to
scaled it
sit there
down.
and do pozole, and then you're just in the kitchen the whole time with the vittles serving.
It's
and
scaled down.
What are you doing?
It's going pizza, good salad, and some snack food. That's it.
Okay. And once the
Go
pizzas are out, they're out,
That's
or
it. That's it.
make your own
It's not
pizza.
homemade pizzas.
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
not?
order pizzas.
No shiznit.
Yeah.
One solution to that problem, Don, is you just put Don's TV in your kitchen, and that's one of the three places where
You're
you
putting
can
my
watch it.
TV in your kitchen.
Oh,
You
yeah.
came and got it.
So what is your
You
strategy?
cannot stand in our house and not see the game. There's no place to not see the game.
But like
Yeah.
Don does not want to talk about anything but football during the Seahawks football game.
It's
Am
going to
I
be
right?
me. It's probably me and my son, and
That's
that
great.
and that's it.
That's great.
It's game day.
Perfect.
You know, I always stand to the left of the television. I never wear a man's name on my back on a jersey, but I do on a T-shirt. I got that T-shirt on right now, right?
Yeah, Steve Largent.
Yeah, so I'll wear the Largent, and I'm going to stand to the left of the TV, usually in athletic stance. Usually in an athletic stance.
And you like to yell and
ready
clap.
to tackle someone, and I got a new, bigger TV now.
Really?
With double Bose surround sound
already
speakers.
had the biggest
I'm
TV.
going to feel it's even
How
bigger now.
loud is it going to be? 'Cause
It's
when
gonna
we-
be super-
We
yeah.
watched baseball at your house, and it was all the way up.
I get so loud, I made sure that no one is staying in my ADU downstairs or out in the back cottage. I'm ruling the property this weekend, and I'm going to be as loud as I want to be. And then I have to say, I'm really glad that Brian and Mauricia moved away. There's some of my neighbors that I used to go watch the games with.
It's not as fun.
Last time we watched the game, we went across the street, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and the Seahawks scored. So, and this is during the first Super Bowl run.
The
that we
Hasselbeck
had.
Super Bowl?
No, I'm not the first. This would be the first Russell Wilson Super
Okay.
Bowl run. Anytime we needed to do so, they would send me to the powder room. The powder room was very small. I didn't have anything to do in there, but they're like, hey, man, you got to go sit on the toilet again. The following year, they invite me over, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then they come over pretty hammered after the game, and they blame me for the loss.
It's
They're
fair.
like, if you would have been over at the house in the powder room during the game, we wouldn't have had this problem. They never talked to me again. We'll see you on the other side of this.
Today's show is made possible by your friends Ron and Don. When you're ready to sit down and strategize about your real estate journey, schedule your time with the guys at ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. We're doing the big game edition of the Ron and Don Show. Some people call it Super. Some people call it a bowl. Some people put those names together. Let's talk about some other NFL stories, though. Russ Wilson coming out and saying, "Not today, Satan!" during Super Bowl week. What is going on here with Russ Wilson and Satan?
This story epitomizes for me why I don't vibe with Russ Wilson. Never did, and I kind of got in trouble for it when we were on Cairo, where I had managers pull me aside. I was like, "Dude, can you be a little less harsh on Russ Wilson because we are the flagship team." So I never vibe with the guy. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great quarterback.
Because when you're winning, you're quirky. When you're losing, you're weird.
He's just not for me. Like some people, that's who they like. I'm a Marshawn guy.
Yeah.
From that squad, I'm 100% Marshawn guy. Yeah. I'm not in Team Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm in Marshawn guy. So Russell Wilson, when he signed the gigantic contract that was one of the worst contracts ever in the history of the NFL, probably right behind Deshaun Watson, that Russell Wilson contract is probably the second.
It was great. It was great for him.
Great for him.
It was great for the Seahawks.
Yeah, but
because he signed it with Denver, and then we got all those draft picks that we're using to go to the Super Bowl.
It helps when you are one of the owners of Walmart to dig out of that contract.
Yeah.
So what he thought would be a good idea, him and Sierra at that time, if you remember back, this is Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson. Mr. Unlimited.
It's not Dangerous?
No, this is Mr. Unlimited came after Dangerous. This is Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride, Bronco. Steeler country. Let's melt steel. Yeah. So that's that era of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He said to himself, "You know what I need is I need a Russell Wilson #3 plane."
Yeah.
Because I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm a future Hall of Famer. I want to get my celebrity wife on the jet, and we're going to fly around. And so he reached out to a plane broker, as you do in the NFL, and he said, "I would like to buy this plane." Unbeknownst to him, he claims, there was a plane for sale by one Mr. Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh,
and so
I've heard of this guy.
Epstein's trying to sell a plane. Russell Wilson's trying to purchase a plane, and there's evidently some correspondence that happens where Russell toured Epstein's plane as a purchase, not to like fly to the island or anything, but he's on the plane, and so it's back and forth. So when the 3 million documents dropped, I guess the DOJ had a searchable database. You could put your name into the search bar.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's name came up.
They put in Danger Russ.
Yes. And so he took to social media quickly to deny all claims that he had.
He said he'd been on the plane. He flew around on the plane. I think they took some pictures on the plane. He said he had no idea that it was connected to Jeffrey Epstein.
Correct. I believe him on that.
And then he yelled, "Not today, Satan," which I agree with him.
I agree with him too.
I'd say "Not today, Satan" too.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't like deviled eggs. I don't like deviled ham. I don't like Satan.
I wonder if he
Matt, if I come over to a Super Bowl party, if I have a change of heart, not today, Satan. No deviled eggs, deviled ham. If I walk in and I see that satanic food, I'm leaving.
And I wonder if he ever bought an airplane. Quick sidebar on the Epstein files. Did you see the Peter?
Well, he flies a helicopter, by the way. So I think he owns a helicopter.
The Dr. Peter Attia information out of the Epstein files?
Yes.
So Dr. Attia is this longevity expert. I bought his book for you because you're into longevity stuff. I think it's a good book. The information seems medically sound.
Yeah, I read it.
And it's helpful.
It's helpful.
Then you see these emails from Epstein and you're like,
horrible.
Dude, come on.
Well, you can see the people that disconnected from him when he first was having issues down in Florida. And then there's, so that's like Bill Gates, right? Like when after that happened, then we don't hear from Bill Gates again, and Bill and Melinda and the whole thing.
Boy, Melinda had to field some questions after this latest drop.
Well, she didn't, and she did, right?
Yeah.
So and good for her. Attia knew, and kept emailing back and forth, and then he actually asked him about how this has affected you, and are you doing okay? So he was still emailing him right before he went to jail and committed suicide. He was still connecting with him. I think what we see is Epstein had access to a lot of money, and what he was able to do with that money, you can see it clearly with Sarah Ferguson when they were in financial trouble. he would always offer them money. She's always been in financial trouble. And the same with her ex-husband, always in financial. And so I think he did that. And I think in Peter Attia's situation, he didn't come from wealth. He was building wealth. He needed investors. And so Jeffrey Epstein was able to provide that for him. I'm just like now the producer of Bones. I mean, the director, I read a story about him today and the casting couch and all that. It's amazing how many people he knew and how many records he kept.
And how many people sort of, like with Dr. Peter Attia,
look the other way?
Well, not only look the other way, acknowledge the behavior.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. And now, and he was just brought aboard CBS. In fact, 60 Minutes just did a big story on him, and the new CBS has now brought on 18 influencers, which are mostly MAGA folks. And Peter Attia is a MAGA person. And I thought it was interesting when Caitlin Collins asked the president yesterday about the files and his name being in the files. And he said, we just need to move on. There's nothing to see here.
Right.
It's a hoax. So she kept on it with him. And he just laid into her again. Didn't call her Miss Piggy, but did all the things that he does to tear down women when they're asking him questions and telling them how horrible, and CNN, it gets no ratings, and they do that whole thing.
So to close a loop on that, so Russell Wilson, we don't know if he bought a jet or not, but he did show up in the Epstein files.
But we all agree, not today's Satan.
You can hire Russell Wilson right now on Cameo. If you want to pay some money, Russell Wilson will come on and do a birthday greeting.
Couple more NFL stories. 10 coach openings.
Yep.
Pretty incredible. 32 teams. There's something called the Rooney Rule. What is it, and why didn't it work this time? Because they just hired 9 white head coaches and then I think 1 Lebanese coach, but certainly not a black coach. And think about this, you guys. Think about this. 70% of the NFL is African American as far as teams go. You will see, though, on Sundays, the starters, sometimes on both sides of the ball, every single player is African American. The owners still call themselves the owners. You look at other CEOs of other companies, they don't call themselves the owners anymore. The owners of the NFL still call themselves the owners. And it is very top down, the NFL is. They created something called the Rooney Rule, trying to get some more people that look like the players as coaches, and what's happened here?
So the Rooney Rule is named after Art Rooney. That's the family that has been owning the Pittsburgh Steelers since its inception. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have had, this is their 4th coach in franchise history. So for the one that just finished up and resigned.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, he's a black coach. He'd been there for 17 years, I think.
19 years.
19 years.
Yeah.
And so what Art Rooney took to the owners years ago is he said, here's what we need to do. When there is a coach opening in the NFL, you have to interview a person of color for that opening. And so the intent at the time was that if you interviewed some of these offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, guys that were working their way up through the league, that the likelihood of someone being impressed by this person goes up. So to get more interviews and to get your person, they're saying you don't have to hire them, you just have to interview them. And so what happened is right after that Rooney Rule, you saw an increase in black coaching in the league. And then now in this latest iteration, it has plummeted to like worse than ever.
There's 3 black coaches.
3 black coaches. And so it was Al Davis that hired the first black coach, Art Shell, for the Raiders back in the day. He also had the first Native American coach in Tom Flores, or Native American quarterback in Jim Plunkett, and then Hispanic coach and first woman in the head office with Amy Trask.
Amy Trask.
So, like, you have some coaches that are progressive and want to be inclusive, and others, I think I read some stat that, like, over a third of the league comes from one coaching tree. And what a coaching tree is where you'll have a guy like Bill Walsh, let's say.
It's McVay.
So
all the coaching is coming from him. Right
and so someone will go,
the
"Oh,
Rams.
Bill Walsh is the greatest coach ever, so we're only going to hire people that have coached under Bill Walsh."
He created a lot of what you see in the NFL, the West Coast offense.
And so I think it's I don't know how you mandate this, but the fact that we had a third of the league with head coaching job openings and not one single candidate that is black that played in the league, worked their way up through the coaching ranks, got a job, even though every single one of those teams, now it's just a token interview. And this was a lawsuit that went back a couple years ago. Is it
still going on? Brian Flores, who's one of the he's one of the three head coaches, and there's still a lawsuit that's happening. I thought it was interesting because Roger Goodell was interviewed the other day, and they said, "Well, what about equity and inclusion?" He's like, "Oh, you know, we still believe in all that." It seems like they don't, though.
Well, then the NFL floods its social media feed with Black History Month.
Yeah,
which is February,
and choose love on the back of the helmets, and choose love in the end zones.
And I guess,
what about choosing black players? Why don't you put that on the back, or choosing a black player to be a coach? Why don't you put that in the F and end zone? All this bullshit about, you know, hire the right man or the right woman. We don't believe in equity and inclusion. Well, we did spend 250 years building this country off the backs of free labor called black people, and white people got a damn head start. They just did. So you can sit here and give me all the bootstrapping you want, and as a privileged white guy who's in my 50s, believe me, this administration right now does a lot more for my pocketbook than it does, let's say, when other folks have been president. But that's not what matters to me. I want. It's very, very hard for the black players just to stand up by themselves, right? It's hard for them to do that because if you go against the NFL, if you take a knee, you get driven from the league, and we all found that out. You go back to the NFC Championship game, and who was the black quarterback that we were playing against when Richard Sherman made his tip, right? You start thinking about Colin Kaepernick. As soon as he stood up, by sitting down and taking a knee, he got driven from the league. So, and that's what players see, and it scares the hell out of them. So I don't know that there's a quick fix on that, but I think the NFL is going to drape themselves in equity and inclusion, but I don't think they believe it. Final question here in this segment: your thoughts about DK Metcalf and the fan that is coming after him now for $100 million. Was this a setup the whole time? Because that fan had found him. It seems like he'd been following him around, and
it's an interesting taunt. So for some reason, DK Metcalf likes to go by DK, and so there was a fan that knows his full name.
His name's Declan,
and so
he doesn't like to be called Declan.
So, but he would call him his first, middle, and last name as a taunt, I guess, from the stands. And he had done this in multiple different games. And so evidently DK went over, they had words. DK claims through Chad Ochocinco talking to Shannon Sharp on his podcast that DK told Ocho that the guy called him the N-word. Mm-hmm. And that went out, was publicized through the Club Shay Shay podcast. So it was out in the ether and it got written up in news stories. This guy's saying, I never said the N-word. I was calling him by his full name. DK went over and you can clearly see him punch the guy in the face as he's leaning over in the stands. And so
it could have been a better punch.
DK Metcalf.
If you're going to do a $100 million punch, I like to get a really good punch.
Well, he got suspended for 2 games, and he appealed it, and the suspension upheld. DK Metcalf is a mystery to me because I follow him on Instagram. He's hyper religious. Every other post is a Bible verse or a prayer or something about God. Huh. And yet, when he plays football, he's got kind of a wild personality. He's hot. He runs hot when it comes to physical altercations like this and stuff. And I guess maybe both things can be true, but he seems to lack some self-control when he's engaged.
Yeah. I love football, man. I love running hot. I miss running hot. More in a minute.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show, Super Bowl edition. What are you going to be doing at halftime? Are you going to be watching Bad Bunny or Choke Point USA? Is it called Choke Point?
No, it's called
something Point.
The Charlie Kirk organization.
Yeah, I think
America
it's something
First or something.
Point.
Yeah.
Anyway, they just announced
Turning Point.
They just announced one of the most religious people you're ever going to meet. In fact, when Ron and I did rock radio in Grand Rapids, Michigan back in the day, we had a studio in a rock show where strippers used to come in. And then when Kid Rock came to town, he took all the strippers and he put them in cages. And then everybody went to the show, and there were strippers and cages and Kid Rock and a bottle of scotch and everything. And people in Michigan love it. They go, and it was a very, very fun show. He's very talented. You can take different instruments, and they'll put them out on the stage. You'll see him do a song where he'll jump from the drum kit. He'll pick up a tuba. He'll run on a guitar. I
remember that show. Ted Nugent opened up, and
yeah.
it was actually
he's a very
interesting.
He's a
concert.
very, very good entertainer. And the thing is about him, like he's very close to the president. In fact, when Bill Maher wanted to go talk to the president, he put together a dinner. So it was Kid Rock, Dana White. And
let me just frame this up real quick. Turning Point USA is doing an alternative Super Bowl halftime show featuring Kid Rock and some country artists you never heard of.
They just announced him, yeah.
That you can stream at exactly the same time that Bad Bunny is.
And you can stream it on TBN, the Trinity Broadcasting Network, which is kind of the Jesus network. The Turning Point thing is a very Jesus thing. The Charlie Kirk thing was very Jesus. She's very Jesus. Erica is. And they're really growing that brand and really growing the Young Republican brand, the MAGA brand, and they're really connecting that to Christian nationalism, which I think is another topic that we can do another day. And then you have Bad Bunny on the Grammys the other night saying "Ice Out," and
most of his songs are in Spanish.
What are you going to watch, and who's going to watch what? And people say, well, I'd like to see American up there. And last time I went to Puerto Rico, I think
Bad Bunny is an American citizen. He does speak English.
Like someone to speak English sounds like he does. Your thoughts on the two halftime? And is there room for both of them?
I think it's ridiculous on its face. For this reason, I was listening to a podcast the other day with this is David Brooks, I believe is his name. Really smart guy, writes for the Atlantic and some other things. And
it's hard to find anyone now that's not in the Epstein files.
Right.
I'm like, David Brooks, Epstein files.
And so he said something that he framed something up that I hadn't thought of it this way before. He's like, the current there's a certain brand of conservative right now that is not pro-conservative as much as they are anti-liberal. And he goes, that's a very important distinction to make, because if you are pro-conservative and you have a proactive platform where you're like, I'm trying to advance these policies, that's very different than saying I'm against everything that the other side is doing.
And that's probably me. That's a good point by David Brooks. I'm very conservative about a lot of things. Like just outside my door, I just got outside my van, and I see that someone went and sawed off of one of these buildings, the water heater, right? They saw and they ripped it all apart. I took some pictures of it because they were going in for the copper wire. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine walking in that building today and you don't have water or hot water, and then you go over and look in our parking lot, and there it sits? I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we have a mayor now that we're going to see more of that. We're seeing the RVs return. Someone broke into my car again the other day. We didn't have any issues.
Break it in my place too.
So that's all back, and I have very conservative thoughts about that.
Right.
Sure.
So, but if you have,
but I'm not anti-liberal because I have some very liberal thoughts about things.
Right, and so
like most people,
this alternate halftime show appears to me from the outside looking in. It's a thing where you're saying, I'm anti-Bad Bunny, so therefore, who's the biggest name I can get on my team? And it happens to be Kid Rock, who's a 55-year-old guy still called Kid. And so I think...
he even thinks that's dumb. I heard him in an interview one time go, my name is not...
It's like Boys to Men being in their 60s and they're still touring as Boys to Men. So I just think it doesn't serve a purpose other than to say virtue signal that I'm anti Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
And so I don't like this to me goes all the way back to like the Marilyn Manson Eminem stuff back in the day. It's like it doesn't do anything to just say I'm anti that person.
Oh, it does.
Because,
It does though, because it fills their coffers. Like,
right,
like
it doesn't do what you think it's going to do.
yeah. It's movements move, and that movement, whatever they're doing, whatever Erica's doing, that's moving. And when they first talked about this, it was going to be a halftime show to honor Charlie. It's going to be a halftime. I haven't heard a word about a halftime show.
I remember
honoring Charlie
when
Kirk.
they
now.
had
And I didn't know that Charlie Kirk loved Kid Rock so much and wanted to be honored by him up and down the block with some strippers and a bottle of scotch.
And so, like, I remember when J-Lo and Shakira did a halftime show, and that was a huge outcry because you have two Latinas
awesome.
in like bodysuits that are dancing, and it's like,
that didn't want to be out there together.
What are we doing?
Which made it really interesting.
What are we even doing?
It
here,
makes more
man?
people watch that.
Okay, best in your lifetime, most memorable musical.
You already know what I'm going to say.
No, I don't.
Let's see what Matt says. You know what I'm going to say. Matt, what do you say? Best Super Bowl halftime show.
I know mine, like hands down. I got my top two.
You're going to say Prince.
Prince and then Bruno Mars. Those are my top two.
Those are my top two.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bruno's the same way as Kid Rock. He can pick up any instrument and play it.
He's great.
But he is.
That Prince show in Miami in the rain, whew, that's the best.
And I didn't think his guitar was actually plugged in. But evidently
yes,
it was. And didn't he risk getting barbecued and electrocuted?
Yeah, he did.
All right. Really quick, one more story here. What do you make about Mike McDonald and all this language he uses about stacking plays, chasing edges, and the 12 is one? What does he mean by all that stuff?
He means that he, as great a coach as he is just a coach. Like, he is not a communicator. In terms of like a guy like Pete Carroll had been around long enough to know, okay, now I'm at the podium talking to the media, and he could change gears and have sort of a different messaging that would go out towards the public. Mike McDonald, I think, is so football centric that he doesn't realize that when he's in front of a podium to a general audience that he has to change the way he speaks.
I don't think he has to, though.
He doesn't have to.
Like, I love it.
Yeah, because you know a lot about football.
And no, I think your point is a great point, and it's well taken. I think what did they say ran out for the players and Pete Carroll? They said all the rah-rah stuff, right?
Right.
Mike McDonald is not a rah-rah guy. He is not. And he greatly appreciates the organization. He greatly appreciates Jody Allen, and he greatly appreciates the fans. And I think when it comes to communication, you say he's not a great communicator. He may not be a great communicator to the world, although I'm because I love football, I love the way he communicates. But he's very clear. He's very clear with his players.
Real question, because you brought up Jody Allen. Do you think, and I wrote about this on my Facebook
it's for
profile.
Sale. Of course,
I know the team's for sale, but what do you think about overriding someone's will? So let me give you this scenario. Paul Allen, in his will, stated that he wanted to, when the time was correct, because there were some technicalities we don't need to get into, when the timing was right, to sell the Portland Trailblazers and the Seahawks. That money was to go into his philanthropic arm, which includes the Paul Allen Brain Institute, which does important work in brain science and some other philanthropic endeavors that he has. And so that's what he wanted to happen.
And a trust can't own an trust can't own an NFL team.
That's a rule from the NFL.
Right.
So like he stated that. When he passed, he was not married, no kids, so he put things with his sister. So now you're down the road 5, 6, 7 years since Paul Allen passed away. Do you think there's a lane, just morally, where you could say, I know my brother, I know what his intention was. However, things have changed in the last 6 years. I now enjoy being the owner of this franchise. And so I would like to convert this out of the trust and keep it in the Allen family name. I like when there are women owners. Like you look at the Indianapolis Colts and you look at Seattle. I think that they have done some interesting things in the league.
Wearing the headset on the sideline.
Yeah, and I think Jody was here to get rid of Russell Wilson, get rid of Pete Carroll, bring in Mike McDonald, sign the money for Sam Darnold. That was all under Jody's stewardship. So she's smart enough to know I'm going to bring in some football people and let them run the team.
She's letting John Schneider cook.
Right. And so
She really trusts him.
I think she's a good owner. And I think the NFL having this rule about the trust, I don't know. What do you think?
Here's the problem. And
Can
I
you
haven't
override the will?
I haven't heard anyone say this, but I'd like to get your thoughts. What do you think the team's worth?
I think it's worth $8 to $9 billion.
Okay. And they're saying 6, but you probably read what I wrote online, and I said I think it's worth 9.
I listened to Colin Cowherd do a breakdown on this as
He
well.
did? Okay. Yeah. 9, and would it
Well, you look at what Steve
surprise you?
Ballmer did when he bought the Clippers.
Yeah, and do we want
Way
a Steve
overpaid.
Ballmer? Do we want a Jeff Bezos to come in who already moved away from here? I think people would hate if Jeff Bezos and now Amazon is here and he owns the team.
Yeah.
I think what the problem with her staying in it and wanting to be a majority owner is
She only needs 30%.
but the question is this. Does she have the 30%? Like where did Paul's money go?
Right.
And how much money did she get? And let's say that she could own 30% at $6 billion, but there's someone out there willing to pay 10. Can she still own 30? Because I think if she continues to be an owner of this team, she's going to want to be the controlling owner.
Right.
She's going to want to continue to
My
control it.
point is
Does she
like-
have the money to do it? And we don't know. And
Right.
and the problem is with self-dealing sometimes, and we know this in real estate. There's a house right now that one of our clients has that's over on the east side that I would love to own. I would love to own that house. But I'll never self-deal the house. I will always take that deal to market or to a builder or whatever it's going to be, because that's going to be the very best deal. And the very best deal for the Seattle Seahawks and all those charities is when you take this team and you put them on the market. If she puts them on the market, I don't know that she's going to have the 30%, because maybe Paul gave all that money away. And that's the thing that we don't know.
I know, but I agree with you. I'm more interested in the prospect of, like, let's say you're in my will, and I give you something, and I was like, my intention is for this to be
better
sold.
be, and you're in my will.
And so, but then down the road,
Not as will.
as a dead person, I'm thinking.
Does everything go to the life partner now? I don't even have an effing watch.
So let me.
Leave me a watch.
All right. I will
Are
leave
you about
alone.
to say as a dead person?
As a dead person?
I'm
So
thinking.
let's say I gave you my tiny house on the river, and now I'm dead. And I was like, in
And
my
now
will.
the tiny house just flooded.
No, and I'm in
All right,
my,
we know if they're got attacked by
No,
a bear.
no, in my
I'm going
will.
to sue your estate.
in my will, it's like I want this to be donated. But 5 years later,
Hang on. Weren't there cars just floating around your tiny house this last year when the river flooded?
there weren't cars floating around.
Yo, there was a car
yeah,
behind
there was.
you.
There was a car
there's a
floating
car floating around.
My point is,
Thanks.
if 5 years down the road you're really enjoying the tiny house and you just want to keep it, what's that bother me? I'm already dead.
I want your new house that you just built with your
fine.
partner
Yeah.
at the top of Queen Anne.
Great, but I'm dead. So why can't she keep the team?
Well, your life partner is not going to allow that.
Why
that
can't Jody keep the team?
we don't because I think if she has the money to do it, I think she could.
But you don't have to invoke a whole new sale to the open market
We
because
don't-
she already has the team.
Boy, we don't know what Paul said in his will. And I bet he was very, very specific. And what's interesting is, why didn't he say, hey, Jody, you're my sister. Take good care of the Seahawks. I saved the Hawks. And let's not forget, in saving the Hawks, it still had to go to a vote for the stadium here. And if the stadium doesn't get voted for, then Paul Allen doesn't save the Hawks.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that the community had buy-in with what was happening here. And he really doesn't get enough credit. Like, he doesn't, even the way that stadium is built, right? The sound in that stadium, or the reinvention, bringing in Todd Leiweke and the reinvention of the 12s. Everybody forgets where the 12s came from and how it almost had to be reinvented. And that was Todd Leiweke doing that, or bringing in the Sounders, or
I just think if they win the Super Bowl and then sell the team for whatever number it comes at, the likelihood of getting a meddling, douchey owner goes way up.
Yeah.
I think Jody has been a pretty good owner in her tenure.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, your thoughts on the
Seahawks.
finally on the game.
And here's Seahawks. I have placed my prediction market wager already that they are going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, really?
I'm saying it's a blowout for the Seahawks, minimum of 14 points. I think my man Raheed Shaheed has a big play.
Oh.
I think we might even see a defensive touchdown with Eamon Yura.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm thinking that we're going to see a special teams points.
Any
we're gonna
prop
see
bets?
Defensive points.
Any prop bets?
I have an anytime touchdown prop bet for
What is that?
for JSN.
Anytime?
If he scores anytime, it's sort of an even money bet.
They have a good corner. It's going to be on him.
He's so good.
Did you hear Mike McDonald said the other day when they asked him about it? He goes, well, do you have 3 of them?
What about you? What's your prediction?
Boy, I got to say, I'm not nervous about it. I think as long as both teams play on a long field, the Seahawks will win. But I think it's going to be – you look at the 3 games that they lost this year, right? And then you look at all the games that they won. They didn't blow out a lot of people. They certainly did the 49ers, but the 49ers were no longer – if people thought that 49er defense was that bad, then think about that. The Niners get blown out, and Robert Saleh, who is the defensive coordinator that came from the Jets, that's now standing on the sideline for the 49ers, that was his defense, and he just got a head coaching job.
Right.
He's the gentleman that's Lebanese that got a head coaching job. So we know when the Seahawks blew them out that wasn't fair. I think we're going to see more. It's going to surprise people. I think Drake May is going to have a good day. I think their defense is better than people think. And I think if we play on a long field, I think we win by a point or 2 or 3 or something like that. But I don't think it's a blowout in any way. The good thing about the Seahawks, if they can get up in the first half, which they usually don't, and the Pete Carroll teams didn't either. In fact, usually during the first possession, they allow you to score. It's usually not a touchdown. It's usually 3 points. And then they drill down. And then they're one of the best teams in the NFL at making transitions at halftime and strategizing at halftime. They're one of the very best teams to do that. And Mike McDonald understands how to close those games out. And he's been around some greats. The Harbaugh brothers also winning that national championship with Michigan. He was the defensive coordinator. The good news is he's young, but this game is not too big
So
for him.
I got
he's
him
been around a lot
winning
of
by
greats.
14 points. You got him winning by 2 points.
2. What about you, Matt? What do you have?
I have no idea.
Thank you. And evidently, you don't even have any vittles. And if you go to Matt's house, you have to bring. What do you bring into your own? Are you just hoping that people bring over vittles and then there's some leftovers and then you guys have some food to eat the next day, or how does this work?
For the first time ever,
Yeah.
in not just in my history, but in all history, the Super Bowl will be in 4K, and it'll be in 4K at my house. In surround sound.
Yeah.
That's one of 3 screens.
You're banking on the video presentation more than the food.
Yeah, I'm providing the video presentation. I'm providing the couch and the clean house.
Wait,
and
you're providing the video presentation off of my old TV that I just gave you.
one of 3.
That's not 4K.
By the way, the sound.
It's not even 1K.
The sound on your TV is terrible, by the way. Just awful.
That's why he's not using it anymore.
Exactly.
Do you want the Bose speaker that goes with it? Come get it. Okay. Yeah, you could just come get the Bose speaker. I'll give you the Bose speaker.
All right, so there's the Super Bowl show.
And then it'll sound amazing. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think Ron's looking to wrap this up once again.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thanks for listening to the Ron and Don Show. We appreciate it. Coming up, we're releasing this before the Super Bowl so that you can actually listen to it. And then we also have a Friday show where we're talking about, what are we talking about?
Middle housing.
Housing.
It's not Middle Earth. It's the latest and greatest thing. Middle housing.
Yeah, a lot of folks are. In fact, we were talking with the folks, city planners at Kirkland the other day. They're like, "Hey, we're really into middle housing, right?"
So we're going to dive
Interesting
deep.
stuff. Hey, if don't forget, the way we pay the bills around here is by you guys listening to the podcast and also using our real estate team. If you want to get in touch with us, we do something called a Ron and Don sit down. We sit down just like this virtually, and we kind of chat. We find out what your real estate story is, how we can help. Sometimes it turns into a transaction, sometimes it doesn't, but the good news is it always turns into a friendship. So we're here to help. We also know that we have a lot of people that listen, that trust us with their parents, their grandparents. There's a lot of folks out there that have collected a lot of stuff over the years, and then mom, dad pass away, or they go into assisted living. And then a lot of folks sometimes are embarrassed. You walk in the house and it's like, hey, things kind of got away here. And they call them hoarders. We call them collectors, right?
You can find us at ronanddon.com, or you can email me directly. I got a playbook for you for free, seller or buyer, ron@ronanddon.com.
Yeah. And don't forget, the market has taken off now here in 2026. We'll talk about that more in the real estate show. But talking to some of my real estate friends, they said, hey, you're in the right neighborhood. You got the right house. Multiple offers are back. So that's very good news for sellers. And as far as buyers go, if you're a buyer, jump in the market now, because I think we're going to get like 40, 45 days down the road when the flowers start coming out here in Seattle. That's when that's when a lot of buyers will jump in as well. But buyers are out there right now, you guys. Buyers are out there right now. So if you need us, just reach out, as Ron said, ronandon.com or ronandonradio.com. Don O'Neill on Facebook, Don O'Neill 34 on Instagram, and he's Ron Upshaw, and over there is Matt off the mic. If you're going over to his house, just be warned, his speakers on his TV really suck, and there's no vittles. So stop by AM PM and grab one of those nasty pizzas that have been sitting there on one of those racks where they used to put the nasty donuts, usually for about 2 weeks. I think it's on the warming rack when you go by. All right? Head up, shoulders back. My thanks to the son, who's a station voice. Grace for working on our studio, and Matt's been a big part of that too. Charlie the dog, he's Ron, I'm Don. Keep your head up, shoulders back. Till next time. Seahawks! 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 On the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, it's G-Force O'Neill. Thanks for listening to my dad and his boyhood friend, Mr. Ron.